Leonardo da Vinci. I mean, we all know the name, a giant of the Renaissance. But when you hear that name, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it a mysterious smile? Maybe a famous painting of the Last Supper? See, for most of us, he's the artist. But today, we're going to look past the canvas and into the mind of a totally different Leonardo, the engineer. His paintings, like the Mona Lisa, are some of the most iconic works of art in all of human history. They completely define our image of him. And yeah, he was a peerless artistic genius, no doubt about it. But that's not the whole story, not even close. Because locked away in his notebooks, right alongside sketches of flying machines and incredible anatomical drawings, are designs for structures so advanced, so audacious, that they completely challenge what we thought was even possible back then. So it kind of makes you wonder, right? What if his greatest masterpieces were the ones he never even got to build? And that's exactly what we're here to explore. We're going to peel back the layers of the painter to find the mind of a master engineer, a true problem solver who saw the world in terms of forces, materials, and just elegant solutions. And to do that, we're going to zoom in on two very different bridges he designed. One of them is just a marvel of practical, almost humble genius. The other, it's a breathtaking leap of pure visionary ambition. And together, they give us a much fuller picture of the man himself. So let's start with the practical one. This is a design for what people call a self-supporting bridge. It's an idea that was born from a very specific need, and its genius lies in just how simple it is. And look, this isn't some polished, final blueprint. It's a raw sketch, right out of his personal notebook from around 1495. For over 500 years, this idea has been sitting right here, captured in just a few strokes of his pen. But what was it actually for? Well, he tells us himself, in a letter to his boss, basically, the Duke of Milan. Leonardo pitched this not as some grand monument, but as a piece of military tech. Imagine you're an army on the move and you need to cross a river, fast. This was his solution. A bridge that was lightweight, portable, and super quick to put up and take down. It's pure tactical genius. So how on earth does it work? Well, the secret is a concept called a reciprocal structure. It's this beautiful idea where every single piece of the bridge is pushing against and holding up all the others. The forces just move in a closed loop, which means the whole structure locks itself together under its own weight. No nails, no glue, no fasteners needed. It's so efficient that designers today are actually exploring it for things like sustainable buildings and emergency shelters. The real magic is how you put it together. It's almost like weaving. First, you lay down two parallel beams. Then, a crossbeam goes on top. Step 3, you actually weave a second crossbeam underneath the first one. And then, and this is the key, you add the next pair of parallel beams, which locks that whole section tight. You just keep doing that, and this incredible structure just emerges, held together by nothing but clever geometry and physics. And get this isn't just some dusty old idea. The design is so efficient that it still fascinates modern scientists. You can see him here, load testing a replica in a lab, trying to put numbers to the genius that Leonardo just understood intuitively. And what they found is just remarkable. The way the forces get distributed through the bridge actually changes depending on whether you use an even or odd number of beams. With an even number, the load gets shared. With an odd number, it all focuses on one central point. The guy didn't have computer models, but he designed a system with this hidden mathematical elegance that we're still unpacking hundreds of years later. Okay, so that was Leonardo the pragmatist, the problem solver. Now let's meet Leonardo the visionary, the dreamer. This next story isn't about military logistics. It's about a project on an almost unbelievable scale. All right, picture this. The year is 1502. The place is Constantinople, what we now call Istanbul. The Sultan, Bayezid II, wanted a bridge across this inlet called the Golden Horn. And Leonardo, hearing about this, sends the Sultan a proposal for the ages. I mean, just listen to the confidence in his pitch. He doesn't just promise a bridge. He promises a marvel, a structure so tall a ship with its sails all the way up could pass right underneath. This wasn't just about connecting two pieces of land. This was a statement. Now, to really get how radical this was, you need to understand the context. Leonardo proposed a single span of 240 meters. At that time, the longest bridge span in the entire world was just over 37 meters. He was proposing something almost 7 times longer than anything ever built. So maybe it's not a huge surprise that the Sultan basically turned him down. It was just too far beyond what anyone could even imagine at the time. And for almost 500 years, that's where the story ended. A brilliant sketch, an audacious dream, but nothing more. Until a Norwegian artist stumbled upon the design in 1996. And this is the results. On the left, Leonardo's original drawing. On the right, a pedestrian bridge built in Norway, which opened in 2001. It's just a breathtaking moment where the past literally becomes the present. That same elegant pressed bow arch finally brought to life. The artist who championed this whole project, Vebjorn Sands, he just captured the feeling perfectly. He said it wasn't just an engineering diagram, it was like a piece of art waiting to be performed. And his passion is really what turned a 500-year-old sketch into a physical reality. And Sand's vision didn't just stop in Norway, it became a global project. The design traveled to France, where a faithful replica now stands at the very same chateau where Leonardo spent his final years. And then, and this is incredible, it was reimagined in its most temporary form yet, built entirely out of ice in both Antarctica and Greenland. The ice bridge in Antarctica is maybe the most powerful symbol of all. Think about it, a design from the Renaissance, built from the most fragile material on a continent threatened by climate change. The artist called it an artistic response to the fragile state of the Earth's ice cover, which just shows how Leonardo's ideas are still finding new meanings centuries and centuries later. So after this journey through his notebooks and across all these centuries, what have we really learned? Well, we've seen two bridges, born from the very same mind, but designed for completely different reasons. And here you can see the two sides of his genius, side by side. One bridge was all about an immediate need, military mobility, and its genius was its elegant simplicity. The other was a monument to the future, civic grandeur, and its genius was its almost unimaginable scale. One legacy is proven by science, the other is realized through art. Ultimately, what we see is a mind that could operate on any scale. He could solve the immediate, practical problem of an army needing to cross a river, and then, in the next moment, dream up a monument that would defy the limits of his entire civilization. The humble and the grand, all in one person. And it just leaves you with this one final, tantalizing thought. Leonardo's bridge designs waited 500 years to be fully appreciated and actually built. It really makes you wonder, what other revolutionary ideas, what other masterpieces might still be out there, just lying dormant in the sketches and notebooks of the world's great thinkers, waiting for their moment?